Don't forget to take it back to childhood on this one. And I'm not hoping for this second bit to be too long, but I fucking waffle on, don't I? But yeah. Anyway, thanks for watching. Yeah, so no, one thing I've always been funny with food. So I was asking my therapist now, like, why am I funny with food? Like my mum says, like up until I was about 2 or 3, I used to eat everything, and all of a sudden I used to sit, like, be with her when she's cooking as well. And she tasted, I'd taste it, this and that, everything. And then all of a sudden she said, I was like, no. And she says, a lot of children, the only thing a child can really control is what goes in their mouth, like what they eat and drink. So typically when something happens, some kind of trauma or something, they stop eating, or like they do something, or they might overeat, but it's mainly like they'll stop eating, they restrict their diet because it's some kind of control that they've got. They'll eat when they're ready, not when you want them to. And yeah, so there's a couple of instances. There's one night when I ate like the stalk of a plant. I almost like, my dad bought my mum some flowers. She used to cut the bottoms off. And I was at that stage where you just put everything in your mouth. Like, it's like, as an adult, you know what everything tastes like. You know that, I mean, that plastic like remote tastes like. You know what that pen tastes like. You've just, as a kid, you just put bigger things in your mouth, don't you? And I must have seen that stalk. Sniffed it, didn't smell alright, but I took some. Oh my days, it was terrible. What was the other one now? So from there, I've always been funny with tastes, and there was something else. If I remember, you know what I'll do? I'll just add it on to the next one when I remember. Oh, alhamdulillah. Not a burp this time. Sneeze me, I sneeze. Yeah, there was another one, so maybe that's what to do with it. But I also obviously seen some violence in the household and stuff, and so maybe it's that. Not too sure fully with that one. But yeah, controlling and domineering behaviour. Dad was controlling, speaking about some stuff yesterday, about difficult controlling emotions and how he was emotional. That's, you have to do what he says. If you don't do what he says, you're gonna get smacked. But still, big up daddy. Do you know what I mean? Like, if there's no resentment to all that. That's just how it was. Like I say, these people haven't been through the university of parenting and got mad understanding. They've been parented a certain way, and then they parent a certain way. It's just how it goes. You know what I mean? I'm sure you can relate if you look at your own parents, your grandparents, and typically we're like our grandparents as well, yeah, because they've gone through all that. Like, they've done all the mad stuff. What our parents are doing to us, like, because our parents normally have a bit of a thing with the grandparents, but we love our grandparents, and that's because, for one, we're not their grandparents, we're not their problem. And obviously, as you get older, you mature naturally, the natural one. Like, things are coming to you, and you realise your mistakes and what you should have done, and like how your child eventually has turned out. You think, fuck, maybe if I did more of this and more of that. So they do that with the grandchildren. So that's why it's kind of good a lot of the times have be around grandparents. But don't get me wrong, I see a lot of things on Facebook where people hate grandparents. Do you know what I mean? And everyone's got their reasons. So it is what it is. Some people stay toxic forever. Do you know what I mean? Like, don't grow up one bit. No maturing, no personal development, no. Don't be that person. These pods are like is to get out of crime, to know there's a life after crime. We'll go into that more as I get all these domains out from the TC, like these domains of my life, like difficulty controlling emotions, like image, like dependent and passive behaviour, difficulty, like all that. I've said that already. But like controlling dominating, these are all domains of our life. And that's why I say like they all link into one, because they all bleed in, because they're not isolated. Do you know what I mean? So yeah. Yeah, so if you didn't do what he says, you get a clip, whatever. Simply, if you don't do what she says, you get shouted at. Like, there wasn't that like Tiger Woods parenting that I talk about at the beginning of this one, where they come down to your level and give you adult to adult. It's parent to child all the time, and that's not really conducive, because it leaves us with stuff. Do you know what I mean? A lot of bad bosses, parent to child. A good boss, good manager, will adult to adult you. Talk to you, talk it through, not just try and control you and tell you what to do and do. Especially talk to you like you're a piece of shit. That's a bad manager. That is not good management, and that's not how management is. That's just how they do it. They're doing bad parenting. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, controlling and domineering. So what it is as well, we develop. So the reason we control and domineer is for our safety. Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Google it. So safety is the second. It's the second one from the bottom. So it's a pretty basic need. I think it is. There is a line, and they're the two basic needs. The physiological needs, which is one. Physiological being food, water, air, sex, homeostasis, meaning like your body's balanced, whether it's like it's warm, your body's cooler, and if it's cold, your body's warm. Do you know what I mean? It's like being balanced, not being hot and you're super hot passing out, and not being cold and you're super homeostasis. Your body can regulate itself, not just weather, but it can regulate. And then it's safety needs, whether it's financial safety, safety of the body. I mentioned this before. So like you're not at risk of like sexual harm or physical harm, or even psychological harm, I guess. And yeah, that's your safety. You want to be safe. But growing up in certain households, when our parents have mental health issues, whether they're diagnosed or not, whether they've got drinking issues, drug issues, whether they've just got anger management issues, whether they're all right, but they bring like partners, like spiteful women or, violent or aggressive men. Our world, because as a kid, you're home, you spend a lot of time at home as a child, and that's your whole world. That's your whole earth within that. Do you know what I mean? That's where you laugh, you cry, you're sad, you're happy. That's where you learn. That's where you play. That's where you eat. That's where you sleep. That's where you use the bathroom. Do you know, that's your place. And it has to be, the home has to be safe. And if it's not, it leaves us with residual stuff, meaning like a stain. There was something on my top. I've wiped the stuff off. There's something left. It's stained the t-shirt. There's residual stuff on the top, basically. And these stains, we won't call it a stain, this residual stuff is the trauma that's still with us. Like it's happening. Like it's happening now. It happened 40,000 days ago or something. Do you know what I mean? But it's like it happened 40 seconds ago. Do you know what I mean? Because the brain hasn't separated from the time. Do you know what I mean? That's why therapy can be good, to help you gain the real timeline of how distant it is, or even push it further away than it actually was. Not push it, that sounds forced, but enable you to have space between that and what's happening now. So the reason when we get into especially like relationships ourselves with partners, when I say relationships, I can mean between you and a friend, or you and a partner, you and your parents, you and the fucking postman. Do you know what I mean? Relationships are with everybody. Do you know what I mean? I know that typically mean like relationships means boyfriend and girlfriend or whatever, or just partners, not partners. Forget boyfriend and girl, partners, sexual partners, whatever, loving partners. No, I'm on about across the board. You and your boy, you and your girls. You know what I mean? You and your kids, you and your like, family members, you and your teacher, you and anyone. It's just all relationships. You relate to people. It's how you relate. That's the key operative word in relationship. Relate. Just how you relate to people. But at this moment in time, I'm on about partners. So if you get with someone that's angry and aggressive, if you become controlling with a partner, it's because you're trying to keep yourself safe. So that's what it is. So although the behavior is negative, it's somewhat touching in a way of yourself, because you're trying to protect yourself from being hurt. But it's not coming across that way. You're coming across angry and aggressive, and you're leaving people scared or injured or hurt. So that's a no-go. So that's when we need to look into ourselves and see, why am I doing this? Why do I keep trying to control this person? Why don't I want them to have another phone? What is it? Like, because to be like fear of loss. Like, not want that bereavement. Like, if you're going to fear you're going to lose them to like somebody else possibly. And it's basically rejection. That's what it's going to boil down to. But there will be that fear of loss, being vulnerable, being hurt, being upset, not wanting to feel these feelings, because these feelings are taking you back to when it happened there. So you control the situation. If I've got his phone, if I've got his car keys, if I've got whatever, the house key even, ain't going nowhere. I've controlled him or her. Like, they ain't going nowhere. Like, if they're not listening, I break them down, and now they're listening so they don't get broken down. I've controlled them. Like, I feel safe now. They're not going to leave me. They're not going to cheat. They're not going to this. They're not going to that. Do you know what I mean? Because I don't want to feel these feelings. All for feelings. If you've not guessed what's going on here all the time, I'm talking about, it's all feelings based. It's the motivation. If you didn't care, if you didn't have feelings, we wouldn't do all the mad stuff that we do, because it's all based on feeling.